Max Igan is another researcher who took the, I think it's the Sydney, Australia to Santiago flight, and he brought a compass with him. And if you're taking these international flights, they'll have on the seat in front of you, they'll show your little plane and where the plane is going and what the azimuth is and everything. Well, if you're doing that route from Australia under the ball to Santiago, you should be heading southwest, go, you're south, and then you start heading northwest. But that's not what his compass that he had in his lap was showing him.
I saw an interesting video that Jeran did on the Jeranism YouTube channel regarding a flight that Max Igan took from Santiago to Sydney. Now, I'm going to play a few minutes worth of a clip. I've modified it a bit to add some animation with the little compass that I've created to further elaborate on the point that Jeran was making.
So, as we look at the great circle route that you would take going from Chile, Santiago, Chile, across the Pacific Ocean all the way to Sydney, Australia, you would take this route, which is exactly as he said. You would start out first going south or southwest, and then you would take a little portion of it going west, and then you would go northwest. So that would be the lineup.
I was looking at their compass, and their compass at one particular point was reading northwest, and my compass was reading west-southwest. And my compass stayed reading west-southwest for the entire journey, well, the entire journey that I was awake anyway.
So just to kind of show what he was saying, he said every time he checked his compass, he was getting a southwest reading, which a flat earth would show, and on the on-screen video display on the back seat of the seat in front of him was showing a northwest, as the globe would show. He had been asleep for 5 hours, he said, but when he woke up, the plane was showing the portion of the trip as northwest, but his compass was showing a different reading of southwest. He also claimed that his compass remained in the southwest position for the entire remainder of his flight, and then he went home and checked the compass against many others, a digital compass and another compass, and said his compass was working fine. So we'll listen to the rest of this and watch the video of him showing us exactly what anomaly he found.
But I was asleep for 5 hours during the journey, but every time I checked my compass, it was pointing south-southwest, and I find that a bit strange that I would be flying south-southwest all the way from Santiago to Sydney. It didn't really make a lot of sense to me. So that's a weird thing. Whether there's some weird electromagnetic interference in the plane that's causing my compass to do weird things, I don't know. But I took the compass. I took a little video of the compass on the screen, and I compared it with my compass sitting on the table, pointing directly straight ahead to the nose of the plane, and I was getting a different reading. So that's something that may interest you.
Well, that's amazing, Max. I mean, if you look at the Gleason's map, if you were traveling, you would be going west-southwest the entire way. So, I mean, those are the kind of things that are important because they are not possible on a globe. And so these are the kind of things when you say it's not provable, you just kind of proved it. That something is wrong.
No, I didn't prove anything. What I offered you was an interesting piece of information.
Right.
It should be put
Okay.
Right. Which
saying,
we will add to our preponderance of evidence, and that's beautiful, and we appreciate that.
I can actually play, and for people out there that are saying, "What are you saying this for, Max?" Can you turn my screen on? Would you like me to share that particular video with you?
I would love it.
Yeah, folks, I've been asleep for about 5 hours.
There you go.
We got it.
We're now well, as you can see.
So here we can clearly see that the plane is in the portion of the flight that it's turning northwest, as seen by the on-screen display.
Daylight all the way. As you can see, it's mostly cloud. Here's the problem. That's the reading that I'm getting.
So as we can see here, as he said in the radar or on the on-screen display, clearly the plane is traveling northwest according to the flight tracker.
Getting a different reading by compass. Most business comes around. was the same. So they're giving me a reading of northwest. They're giving me a map direction of northwest. But on my compass, I'm getting a reading to southwest.
So, as you can see, the compass is clearly showing southwest or west-southwest, and the on-screen display is showing it is going northwest. Something is clearly weird about that particular flight, which seems to show northwest as the intended path of the flight, yet Max clearly showed, at least that portion of the flight was showing southwest on his compass, and he claims that it showed southwest the entire time he was awake. Let me show you a flat Earth map so you can get an idea of why that's a big deal. Now, as you heard Bob say, this is not necessarily proof, it's just something that's very interesting and worth mentioning. Now, let me look at the flight as it would take place here on the Gleason's map. Now, again, none of us are claiming that this Gleason's map is exactly correct. We're not claiming that the sizes of the continents are correct or the distances between them. It's just something to give us an idea if we're looking at a flat Earth kind of model. You can see the black line being the flight's path if it were on a flat Earth. And if you look at the lines that have the green on them, those are lines where the plane would be flying northwest. The line with the purple would be flying about west, and then all the yellow lines would be flying southwest. So the interesting thing there is, when Max said that the second half of his trip, the entire time he was awake, his compass was showing southwest, that would make sense with all the yellow lines, as you see. Remember, north is relative to where you're at, with south behind you, so that's what those little pink lines show us. And as you can see, all the yellow lines are actually a southwest flight direction, where on a globe he should have been going northwest, and that's the anomaly that he found.
Now, I understand that that's not the path that is typically plotted. The path that we always see these planes supposedly taking is going under the ball, and they go by the coastline. I don't know if they even get close enough that they can see it, but they at least get fairly close to the Antarctic coastline. The hard part is tracking these flights on any kind of third-party website or something where they track southern flights. From what I understand, it's pretty difficult to track anything. After about an hour from the coastline, they disappear. So I haven't personally spent the time trying to figure that out or looking into it. Maybe somebody else can. Jaren's making the assumption that it's a direct flight the way he has it depicted here on the azimuthal equidistant map. I don't know that you can make that assumption, but it is interesting. Whatever assumption you start with, you have to admit it is very interesting that the on-screen display says that they are on a northwest heading, which is what you would expect if you just flew up from under the ball, headed towards Sydney. Yet Max Igan has this compass sitting on his tray showing a heading of southwest. Things that make you go, I'm very intrigued by this. If there's anybody out there who can make this flight and document it, I'd like you to do two things. Confirm what Max Igan did by bringing a compass with you on the flight. Do the same thing he did. Bring a compass with you. Please use a better camera so you can actually hear what's going on and it's not so herky-jerky. Use your iPhone or something like that. So document it as best you can. And I would say also bring a spirit level with you. I'm not going to get into it in this video right here, but that would determine whether or not you are flying straight and level. Now, of course, I know that you will be flying straight and level because that's what pilots do. But that's not possible on a ball. You cannot use your attitude indicator set to level and fly 500 plus miles an hour over a ball without significantly increasing in altitude about every 12 minutes. This is because at 500 miles per hour, every 12 minutes or so, you'd be going about 100 miles. In fact, according to the Pythagorean formula for calculating curvature, in 1 hour's time, this is how much altitude you should accumulate if flying straight and level. Unless you be tempted to say attitude indicators don't work that way and that they do, in fact, adjust for the curvature using that magical Tony the Tiger force of gravity. see the description below for a couple of videos that debunk that idea. Anyway, here's my challenge to anyone willing to take me up on it. Bring a compass, a good camera, and a spirit level, and if somebody out there can make this flight and document it, do what Max Igan did, send me the video. I'd love to see it. That would be something really cool to check out.
So, taking on his cue, I brought my compass on this flight. And I brought my there's a digital compass on the phone that also has a digital level, and I brought a spirit level. Things didn't happen that should be happening.
Okay, so here you see my spirit level, and here you see both my phone and my wife's phone. We have the compass app that also has a level on it, and as I was tilting it right there, you can see how it works. It shows negative, up or down if it's tilting forward or backwards. Got my compass out here, put it next to the two phones that I had right here. I'm using both phones to kind of double check with two sources. I decided not to have my level nearby because it has a magnet on it and it could be causing a problem for the compass, so I stashed that away in my luggage so it's not going to cause a problem. And so I recorded it actually separately. What you see in the top left corner here is a video I shot of about 15 minutes worth of just the spirit level. I got rid of everything else, so it's just the spirit level sitting on my tray table, and I recorded that for 15 minutes. And then separately, the video below that here is with the two iPhones and the level app on those phones with my compass, and I recorded that for about 15 minutes. So other than some minor turbulence here and there causing it to switch to about -1, I think was the most I saw as far as it changing its level, they both stayed in the green at 0. So, I mean, here's two tests I did. One with just a spirit level for 15 minutes, and one with two iPhones using the same app, just to make sure both of them are working right. Every now and then I had to tap my phone and my wife's phone because it wanted to go into sleep mode. But otherwise, there you have it. So at no time did the plane ever show any indication of going into a nosedive as you would expect that it needs to when you're flying over a ball. And I know there's people going to argue against that. And that's I'll make another video that deals with that issue. Oh, gravity is taking care of the whole situation. No, it's not. You don't understand how a gyroscope works. But again, that's a whole other video. Right here, you see the on-screen display showing our speed, showing the path we're taking. In the top right, I've got a freeze frame of that. You show the circle of the Earth navigation from Minneapolis to Amsterdam, which on the flat Earth map is a straight line. So there you go. And again, I'm just kind of going back and forth with my camera, just kind of showing. Tapping the phone again because it's wanted to go into sleep mode. The compass gave pretty much an accurate reading the whole way, as I expected it would. In the northern hemisphere, I expected it to show an accurate representation of our flight path, both on the circle of the Earth navigation as well as the straight line on the circle of the Earth. So that's no surprise to me. The Max Igan one isn't really a surprise either if you subscribe to the circular flat Earth model. His reading's exactly what you would expect it to be, but not what you would expect it to be if you're looking at the on-screen display in the circle of the Earth navigation. So that's why I wanted to show that clip before this one. Again, there's a lot more to talk about. I don't have the time to do it with this video right here. I just wanted to get out because a lot of people were asking me, what happened? People saw the picture that I posted on Facebook saying, hey, I'm all set, ready to go on my flight. I got my compass, my level, and ready to do some tests on the flight. And so since people have been asking me over and over and over again, what were the results? What were the results? I decided just to put this video together. Maybe at some time in the future I'll do another video that will explain the issues of the avionics, the attitude indicator, the altimeter, the airspeed indicator, and how a gyro works, and show that the whole idea that gravity is keeping the plane level is utterly ridiculous. We should be having to dive down. Actually, we're going faster than 500 miles an hour. The calculation I had where it said that we should have to either take a nosedive every 12 minutes to 1.26 miles or show an increase in altitude of 1.26 miles, what is that, about 6,653 feet every 12 minutes. Now again, that calculation is based on going 500 miles per hour, but as you'll see on the on-screen display, we were going closer to 600 miles an hour, so we would have that problem in less than 12 minutes. I'm not going to do the math out here. Somebody else could do that if you feel so inclined. But at any rate, as I monitored the altitude, I never saw much more than a very minor fluctuation, maybe 5 or 10 feet or something like that, which could be accounted for with updrafts and turbulence and things of that nature. So never saw a dramatic increase of altitude, which you should see if you're flying straight and level, and all of the instruments that I had were showing that we are flying straight and level. I'm sure in the cockpit the attitude indicator was showing that too, because that's how a pilot flies. He's always monitoring. I mean, he's got lots of instruments to monitor as well as radios and stuff like that, but 3 instruments that you're really paying a lot of attention to when you're flying is the airspeed indicator, the attitude indicator, and the altimeter. And they really work together, because if you're all of a sudden noticing that you're increasing in airspeed, there's a pretty good chance you're probably in a dive. If you're decreasing in airspeed, there's a pretty good chance that you're in a climb. And or if you're looking at the attitude indicator and you're seeing, well, I'm in a climb or I'm in a dive, you'll notice that in your airspeed indicator as well as in your altimeter. So these instruments would be in conflict with each other if you're flying over a ball. If you are focused on keeping your airspeed the same and keeping your attitude the same, i.e. keeping the horizon perfectly level, in both to your eyes if you're able to see the horizon out the window, as well as to the attitude indicator itself. If you're keeping that plane straight and level, flying straight and level and maintaining airspeed, then your altimeter, if you're flying over a ball, must show an increase in altitude. And I'm sorry, gravity's not going to save you. Gyroscopes don't work that way. Again, I don't have time to do it here. Maybe I'll post a link or something in the video to other people's videos showing how gyros work. In fact, maybe what I might do in a future flight, I'm supposed to possibly go to Australia maybe next month, and if that's the case, if I'm able to do it and able to get it in time, I'm going to go online and see if I can get one of those really precision gyroscopes, and maybe I'll add that to my experiment on that flight, is set one of those up and see if we see any variation. So anyway, I'll just go ahead and let this play the rest of the way. I recorded for about 15 minutes twice, again once for just the spirit level and again with the 2 iPhones and my compass, and I took both tests, put them here on the screen for you to watch both tests at the same time, and well, you'll see. We'll just let it play out for 15 minutes, and you'll see that there was no change whatsoever. And again, probably in the future, if I can find the time to do it, I'll put together a more elaborate video explaining the various issues with the instruments on board and how they work and how gravity is not going to save you with this problem. Alright, so you can continue to watch the rest of it or just take my word for it. You're not going to see any change in the spirit level or in the iPhone levels. Nothing changes. So you can either just take my word for it or watch the rest of the video. It's up to you.